Well, hello people, and welcome to my thoughts and reaction to the Cities Skylines 2 announcement trailer that dropped yesterday. And we're also going to have a look at some of the achievements that have been announced as well to see if we can pick out any more information from this. But extremely exciting, right? Please excuse my different audio setup today as well. I am not in my usual office. Of course, I go on holiday when Cities Skylines 2 is announced. But either way, let's have a look at this trailer, shall we?
It's time to start from the beginning.
So of course the trailer is not actual gameplay, so these kind of pre-rendered cutscenes we can't really take as gospel, but at least we can sort of have a look, right? But I love this vista, right? I hope this is an indication of the fact that we're going to be able to build much more convincing rural areas. Also notice the addition of like cactus, maybe Ilos, perhaps.
Yet evolve into something new.
Quite American looking road design here too, I think. So this really caught my eye in the trailer. These little sort of embanked pavements on the edge of the entrance into the roundabout and the markings on the road are very reminiscent of the intersection marking tool. Of course, with Mixergy now actually working with Colossal Order, the developer of that mod. So I'm certainly hoping to see some sort of intersection marking tool functionality baked into the base game this time.
This city has a story.
So something else that struck me here was this little bollard fence here. I hope that's a ploppable fence and not just sort of on that type of road. But the aesthetics are very realistic, aren't they? Of course, this is all pre-rendered footage. It's not sort of reflective of actual gameplay. But if it does go for this more sort of realistic tone, I'd be very happy with that.
Envision a world created by you.
So this again was something I found quite interesting. We can see sort of multiple types of cargo ship up and against the port here. Also with a little lighthouse in the corner too, and sort of lots of different types of buildings. There's kind of more older wharf style buildings here on the left, and then some super modern sort of Far East Asian skyscrapers over here as well. So hopefully we're going to be seeing an inclusion of both the different sort of architecture styles and everything in between as well. We hope so at least. There is also an achievement as well for playing with cargo lines, which is very interesting. We'll check that out later on in the video.
To shape the future.
And how about this, right? This all but confirms the inclusion of seasons. How excited. That is so good. That's probably what I'm hyped most for, is seasonality in cities. Yes, please, everyone.
And inspire. Expand way up high and bring life to your creations.
I would also like to take note here as well. At this point in the trailer, we can see a little pond down here. I'm hoping that that is the integration of the Better Landscaping Tools mod, so we can make parks and ponds realistically in the game.
New worlds to explore and pursue.
I'm also noticing the inclusion of cranes, which we had in the Cities 1 sort of trailers and teasers and whatnot. But I'm hoping that the construction in Cities 2, at least for the taller towers, might actually involve the construction process. I think that'd be quite cool. You can see like SkyCorp here as well. Maybe that's going to be like the branding we see on all the construction sites. Maybe. It's all speculation, of course.
Here.
And again, just looking at this, it seems to indicate that we're going to have different styles of bridges to play with. Hoping we get these kind of cool modern arches rather than always having to play with the classic vanilla suspension arch like we do in Cities 1.
You are the visionary. You are the creator. You make cities.
So it is incredibly exciting, isn't it? It is just so cool. What a wonderful trailer. I love the music, of course. It's all pre-rendered footage. But the confirmation of seasons is like incredibly exciting for me. I'm really happy to be playing with seasonality in the game. And hopefully I think everyone has the same wish list for Cities 2. It's have Move It, have Node Controller, Forest Brush, better landscaping tools, more realistic graphics. We all want the same thing, just a better, more accurate, cool, realistic city simulator. And I think now that they have modders, especially in the form of Cuboid, the maker of Move It, and McSurgy, who of course is intersection marking tool node controller, working on the development team, that hopefully gives them a little bit of community insight as to what exactly the community wants in a sequel. I think it's a very unique position we're in to have that happen with modders working on the game itself. Very exciting, isn't it? But either way, that is the trailer for Cities 2. Let's have a little scan now over some of the achievements. So, of course, with the listing of Cities Skylines 2 across Steam, Xbox and PlayStation, we now have access to the achievements. And I'd just like to have a little scan over here and just sort of pick out maybe some interesting things that we're going to be seeing from the base game in Cities 2. Of course, there's some pretty generic things in here, build with residential, commercial, industrial zone, was electricity isn't that interesting, but it would appear that the disasters are now baked into the base game. We now have a new type of disaster, including a hailstorm. Exactly how that's going to affect the city, I'm not so sure, but tornado and forest fire are now in the base game. This one also caught my eye as well, to have a city that produces electricity by only using renewable energy sources. I'm hoping that's going to be kind of a more fleshed out theme. Of course, we kind of got that vibe with Green Cities DLC, but that was a long time ago and it's really just a collection of assets. So I'm interested to see what the renewable energy sources are beyond sort of wind and solar power. Also, the description of the airport achievement is to build any airport. That kind of indicates to me that there's different types of airport. Maybe there'll be sort of regional, municipal, international, etc. Now this here is the most interesting one to unlock 150 map tiles in a single city. 150, that's huge, that's absolutely huge. And we are going to assume that this is also applying to console as well. So no longer need for 81 tiles, it looks like we will be playing with 150 tiles in Cities 2. And then there's also a smaller related achievement to unlock 50 tiles within the same city as well. We're also seen to build 10 signature buildings. I'm not sure what a signature building is. Is that going to be replacing unique buildings perhaps? And then that definitely confirms Seasons doesn't experience all 4 seasons by building a city in a climate with a snowy winter. It looks like not only do we have seasons, but also different climates and biomes that some will not have access to a snowy winter. So this is the achievement I mentioned earlier, to have 50 active transport lines. These can be passenger or cargo lines. So it looks like we will no longer have to rely on the AI to ship cargo across the city. We're now going to be able to tell it exactly where it needs to go, which is a huge game changer for cargo functionality because you don't really get that much control over it, of course, in Cities 1. And it looks like this achievement here does confirm the returning of the classic zoning style of 4 types. So you're going to assume that's office, industry, commercial, and residential. And then we have built all unique city service buildings in a single city, which that could be sort of hinting towards the monuments. Maybe they're now classed as unique city service buildings, which I hope is true. Sort of like a main hospital rather than the ridiculous monument stuff that we got in Cities 1. But otherwise, guys, that's kind of it. There's not too much to say that hasn't already been said. It's a pre-rendered trailer, so we can't get too excited about it as much as we want to, but at least we know that Cities Skylines 2 is coming this year, which I think is the biggest surprise of all, isn't it, that we're getting it this year? There was also that new life simulator as well from Paradox announced at the same time, which, to be honest, I'm kind of more hyped for that. The fact that The Sims now has a competitor, which I've been wanting for ages. I remember back in my 5,000 subscriber special, I actually asked for Paradox to make a life simulator, and it turns out they have, which is great. So we'll definitely be covering that on the channel as well, and of course, we will be having early access to Cities Skylines 2, courtesy of Paradox, with all our other favourite creators as well. So as and when news comes out about Cities 2, I of course relay it back to you guys, and we'll be covering it, of course, on the channel. Let me know what you're excited for and what you think of it down below. Is there any reservations as well? Let me know if you have any concerns from what you've seen. I'd be interested to know how everyone's feeling. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.